Does high drama have a showdown with the shows? If you are expecting High Noon the movie, Axis Company will disappoint you. The review contains spoiler alerts, so you won't be as confused as I was. And luckily, the lady sitting next to me knew what was going on. It opens, you're in the dark. You hear gunshots, and you have strobe lights. And then it starts, and it starts with the wedding between Barnum here, not,
Gary Cooper.
Not Will Kane, and Alice, not Amy. So it's like the names are changed, the plot's changed. I mean, there's something to do with hostiles, and he might have been a member of the gang, and instead of just the gang there's just the brother waiting at the train station. What's happening is I'm going to use the movie as a reference, but basically Gary Cooper has just married his Quaker wife. He was town marshal. He's leaving the town to go start a store and start a new life with his new wife. And then this guy he sent to prison back east is coming back to have a shootout with him. And so the townspeople want him to leave because they don't want any trouble. But he decides to stay because he is a principled person, unlike the townsfolk who kind of are on the bad guy's side. I mean, that's the actual plot, but what you see at the thing is, and this is what gets me, this is why I'm so friggin' mad at this, there's no gunfight. The whole exciting thing about this movie is one guy against 5, and what happens at the end, because this doesn't happen in the play, I can tell you, but you know what, just don't see the play, just see the damn movie. It's one of the most exciting movies. It was my father's favorite movie. On his deathbed, we were singing, "Do Not Forsake Me, Oh My Darling." This movie means a hell of a lot to me, and they just desecrated it. And for the first time, I'm not saying anything nice at all. I'm just giving this a major, major happy face. I'm just so upset.
Unhappy face.
That's what I said, didn't it?
Drew Gilchrist reviewed One More Time with Malice, written by Rob Cardazone and directed by Eric Nightingale. It's set in a hospital in New Jersey in 1995. A woman is recovering from a suicide attempt, and her son, Jeffrey, who's an aspiring actor who's HIV positive, visits her. And over the course of the play, the mother gets more suicidal and crazier, and the son also develops more dementia from HIV, but he develops a relationship with one of the male nurses. And Drew liked the play very much. He said the playwright addresses issues very pertinent to families in general, many of which are at the core of this production. The actors do a credible job of presenting situations which are uncomfortable, often unavoidable, and the audience is challenged. He gave it a happy face. More on Facebook.
A much better Western is God Is. Although it's like a spaghetti Western. Alicia Harris' Is God Is has burn-ravaged twins being summoned by their presumed dead mom to go on a quest of revenge against the dad who put them in this predicament. In the style of Vampire Cowboys without the ninjas and a spaghetti Western with a showdown, this illustrates what a person is capable of in extreme situation. Gory as this was, it was ultimately funny over an extremely unamusing premise of physical and possible mental abuse. Who was abusing who? Can you afford to be kind-hearted when faced with smooth-talking individuals? This was divinely directed by Tybee Magar, acted to perfection by the entire ensemble, and a monkey puzzle set by Adam Rigg, and the burnt flesh was intricately created by Montana Levi Blanco, which shows scars in a grotesque but not gross way. Fasten your seatbelts, as this is one quest you don't want to miss. I am so glad to have Soho wrapped back where they belong, just like Dolly.
The new group at the Pershing Square Signature Theater is presenting Jerry Springer the Opera, with music and lyrics by Richard Thomas, book and additional lyrics by Stuart Lee and Richard Thompson, and directed by John Randa, with choreography by Chris Bailey. This is really an amazing opera/musical. It deals with the lurid talk show in which losers of our society get a chance to be heard and have their 15 seconds of fame. Jerry Springer is a man with a past as a liberal political operative, and he invites guests with guilty secrets like sinners. Dwayne to confess to his fiancée Peaches of his dalliances with her best friend Zandra, as well as a cross-dresser. Zandra is the cross-dresser. We also get, Tremont is the cross-dresser. We also get commercials.
Well, we get lots of good stuff, and you have to go see this because, I mean, I'm not a fan of opera, but this was just rooted in musical comedy.
Mm-hmm. And again, it's just the people that you normally would not have any interest in come alive in this show, and they are really exciting. And then later there's a kind of very hallucinatory show being taped in hell at the command of the devil, and you get to see just how similar these weird people are to prototypes.
And they really have recreated the authentic outrageousness of the Jerry Springer Show, but they have layered it with real, honest human emotions that over the hysteria we can relate to. And there's lots of coarse language, but it's by no means gratuitous like a Mammoth play. We may feel superior to these people, but are we really in this day and age? And John Rando, the director, has created high art with the lowest remnants of society on a brilliant set by Derek McLean.
Yeah, I found this just thoroughly wonderful, and Will Swenson is just so perfect. It's like, Berger grows up and gets a different role, but very similar personality. So I was just overjoyed with this. I'm so glad it's been extended.
Yes, till April 1st. And we're not fooling you. And but the only thing I'm going to complain about is the sound design, because I really had trouble understanding the lyrics and some of the, talking. I mean, so...
Well, often in opera, I think that's the case, but, like, if the Met had any balls at all, they would do this opera.
And who knew such dregs of society could make you feel like you are drinking fine wine? So I'm giving this a happy face juice, but you had the last word.
Absolute happy face for this one.
Eve Ensler's In the Body of the World at Manhattan Theater Club, directed by Diane Paulus, turns her cancer into a metaphor for the horrific and life-altering encounters she had in the Congo, where she takes mind-numbing tragedy and turns it into a city of hope. This is a place where she was building in the Congo with many obstacles in her way for a place for these battered women to go and be safe and looked after, just as she needed a place to look after her. She was surprised by the people who rallied around her. Eve Ensler knows how to keep an audience on the edge of their seats and squirm with uncomfortable images, but in the end she provides an oasis from all the misery in the world, literally, and I give this a major happy face. I went with Drew Gilchrist to see Phoebe Legere in Speed Queen, and Mark's going to give Drew's review and mine's going to be on the Facebook page. I just want to warn you, do not go sit in the front row on the right hand side because the piano's in the way and you'll miss a lot that way.
And Drew wrote, Phoebe Legere, the doyenne of the downtown art world, has penned a new work, Speed Queen, the Jew Carstairs story, a kaleidoscopic musical foray into the amorous adventures of the renowned British speedboat racer in the early decades of the 20th century, who eschewed his former self as Barbara Carstairs and embraced life as a transgender, openly experiencing adventure and male carnal pleasures at a time when such choices were inconceivable and insupportable. He felt this was a repertoire of lovely melodic songs, unparalleled vocals to match, but director Lissa Mora had the daunting task of maneuvering the work in which needed structure, and editing would bring the show into better focus, crystallize the entertaining and engaging life story. So he gave it a mix, and as always, there's a lot more on Facebook.
And I'll be giving it a mix too on Facebook, but again, I'll say my piece there. In Edward Albee's At Home at the Zoo, which are his two one-act plays, Home Life and The Zoo Story, is directed by Lila Neugebauer for the Signature Theater. Robert John Leonard as Peter publishes textbooks and is attempting to read a particularly boring one when his wife interrupts him wanting to talk to him. She's going through a marital existential crisis where she's not quite sure what she wants from her husband. But they do love each other, which becomes quite clear when they share their thoughts. And then Peter goes to the park to read another story, a better one, and there he's interrupted by this garrulous stranger, Jerry, who goes on this rambling tirade about his landlady and this vicious dog, and the setup, because he writes the prequel much later on, and much later than At the Zoo. That was one of his first plays, but it sets up the randomness but not the shock of the second play. It's really brilliant how he does that. And I gotta say, Robert Shaw Leonard, because he has to listen while Jerry, Paul Sparks does this bravura performance, and I think that's very difficult to keep your concentration level up to the peak that he does. I mean, and Katie Finnerman, is just brilliant and funny, but she's also very philosophical, and anyway, I just thought this was just so brilliantly, wonderfully done, and it's just terrific, and you should go see this.
The Vineyard Theater is presenting The Amateurs, written by Jordan Harrison, directed by Oliver Butler, with incredible scenic design by David Zinn. A group of traveling players in 14th century Europe hope to be given shelter from the Black Plague by the Duke, for whom they're preparing a new play based on Noah's Ark. Their leader and director, played by Thomas J. Ryan, plays God on stage as well as off. Beautiful, sarcastic Rona, played by Jennifer Kim, is pregnant and has many roles to play. Hollis, Quincy Tyler Bernstein, mourns for her brother and begins to question her roles on stage and motivation. Brahm feels guilty for loving Hollis's brother, and their gifted set designer, Gregory, is considered to be too dim-witted to act. A latecomer to the troupe, the Physic, may have a secret in his past.
Oh, yeah, here, move over a little bit.
Sorry.
There's, right? We're filming this without a camera person, so it's like, anyway. Oh, my God, this was so good. Oliver Butler is just this wonderful director, and Michael Cyril Crichton is just such a delightful actor. I mean, they're all wonderful. And Quincy Tyler Bernstein, I just love what they were doing with this play.
And Thomas J. Ryan as God. It doesn't get better than that.
There's just so much more to it, and just the whole thing, like, trying to, you have this horrible plague hanging over your head, and it, of course, brings up AIDS and everything else. It's just a very clever, wonderful, moving, terrifically. Jordan Harrison is just such a
so
writer.
Much fun. And there's a very special surprise in the middle. Absolute happy face. You've got to see it.
The next Lyrics and Lyricists at the 92nd Street Y is going to be Irving, Berlin's America, March 24th through 26th, with Noah Racy in charge of that one. And Sasha Clark and I just saw Lenny's Lyricists, who are Comden and Green and Sondheim and Latouche, and they always do this incredible job. You get anecdotes and things and music you never heard before. So check out Lyrics and Lyricists, Irving, Berlin's America, March 24th to 22nd, 92nd Street Y, and all their other stuff as well, because I saw Kiefer Sutherland there, and It Should Have Been You in concert. I mean, they just do brilliant stuff there.
Eva and I got to see Broadway by the Year, which is in a new format. It had the years 1930 and 1964, including stuff from Girl Crazy and Funny Girl and Fiddler on the Roof, with performers like Christiane Knoll, Christine Andrea, Scott Coulter, Tonya Pinkins. And the new one coming up is on March 26th, again, 2 years, 1947 and 1966, including songs from Brigadoon, Finian's Rainbow, Cabaret, and Sweet Charity, with performers like Tony Yazbek, Emily Skinner, and Leslie Margarita. These are always great. Scott Siegel really knows how to do a good job of presenting them at Town Hall, so happy face.
And our reviews are always on the Facebook page. Encores is going to be March 21st to the 25th with Grand Hotel, the musical next. The first one they did was called Hey Look Me Over, where they showcase these musicals they haven't done but they should do, like Wildcat, All American, Jamaica, Milk and Honey, Mac and Mabel, Subways Are for Sleeping, Green Willow, Sail Away, George M. And Bob Martin reprised his Man in a Chair to put them all together. It was just the most brilliant thing I ever saw. So if you missed that, don't miss this one. Grand Hotel with the greatest cast and greatest everything. You know how wonderful they are. So happy face, and don't forget, New York City Center, don't forget to see Grand Hotel.
Even I got to see musicals tonight presenting Anything Goes, which was a wonderful production of the Cole Porter musical. And, you know, great tap dancing. I don't know how they got those numbers on that stage. And really wonderful voices. Mel Miller always gets the best people and has incredible costumes and wonderful productions. And I'm so sad that Calamity Jane, which is coming up, March 13th through the 25th, will be the last one he's doing.
I know, after 20 years and like thousands of actors that he's given their first chance to. Noah Racy started at musicals tonight. I mean, Lauren Molina from the Skivvies started at musicals tonight. James Patterson, whom I just love and follow his career, I first saw at musicals tonight. And he's done so many, like King of Hearts and shows we've never seen. I mean, he's actually done things before Encores or musicals and Mufti did. He did
often
first.
Better.
You know, with just a shoestring budget and a piano, and I mean, he's ending on a high note, very glitzy and with major production and without book, and I'm heartbroken that he's given up musicals tonight. And you know, and we should also say, you know, dedication to Mo, Izzy and Mo, one of his dogs died, and they were an institution with musicals tonight too.
Yes.
And sometimes they even appeared in musicals tonight.
Well, at any rate, Mel, thank you so much for making us all so happy for 20 years. But I hope you decide to come back, because we will miss you.
Yeah, in fact, I'm very sad that you're leaving. That's why you're getting a sad face, but oh my God.
Happy face for all your great work.
Hammad Shaw's An Ordinary Muslim at the New York Theater Workshop, directed by Joe Bonney, is a dysfunctional family drama, but this time with Muslims. I found this play very confusing as plot points were brought up and then dropped with no resolutions. It was hard to feel any sympathy for any of the characters or understand their motivations because they claimed the father was abusive, but we never saw him be abusive. The mother seemed a lot worse because she just cared about the male parts of her family and ignored her daughter and granddaughter. And the wife of Azim, oh, by the way, Azim is the main character who's the ordinary Muslim. He's trying to become a bank manager and make something out of himself and blend in, and it's in Hounslow where I used to live, so I'm very aware of Hounslow and the surroundings, and I didn't feel like they were in Hounslow at all. I just did not feel this play at all.
You see, the parents are immigrants, first generation, and the children are born there. So that's where the thing is just like most of the children now in 21st century, they don't really live with their parents. Maybe this is a particular family he's talking about where they're living there. The son seems to be very modern. He claims to be very, very modern, you know, and he doesn't like Islam.
It was like religion versus modernity.
Exactly. We can have both, actually. I mean, if you're Muslim and you are modern, you can still respect the mosque. You don't have to go there, but he goes there and curses a lot, which is just very not tasty. You know, it's not sophisticated enough. And many families have moved on. Women are getting married on their own. There's no arranged marriages and all that. But in this particular play, many issues are raised, like Eva said, and nothing is developed. The mother's character is very not developed at all. And she seems more abusive to me than the husband because she's poking the husband. You know, it's also not a very sophisticated gesture.
They were very against that Jamaat for some reason.
Yeah, because you see, at the very end they show two characters who are seems like fundamentalists because they're beards and all that, and they do some kind of meditation for 3 nights in the mosque, and they invite them, and the son goes and curses and everything. Nothing is developed. Nothing is clear, and it's a very badly directed, and the costumes are very typical cliche. It's very cliche caricature kind of play for me, and I was very disappointed because I was really looking forward to see the play.
And I'm just giving it a mix because the acting was very good, and it's not their fault they're in this.
Well, this is an unhappy face from my side. You know, what I dislike the most and the most offensive for me is like there's a couple of plays I have seen where Muslim men always beating up their wives. It is not really true. You know, like some men beat up their wives. That doesn't have to be Muslim or Jews or Christians or Catholic. You don't have to pinpoint that. But it's a cliche for the Western world who doesn't really know much about Islam, and their impression gets confirmed.
Right. So anyway, we'll discuss this much more on the Facebook page. Patrick Dunning from Ireland, using signatures from all over the world, and there's a story behind all these signatures, has created the Signature Project, which was very fascinating to see how an artist works and the formation of a painting with many surprises revealed. He's been working on this for 25 years, and I'm 139. That's where my signature is. And I give this a happy face. And now for a real treat. Richard Skipper and Fred Parton discuss the upcoming Richard Skipper Celebrates John Cantor's Birthday, Sunday, March 18th, 1 o'clock at the Laurie Beechman, with wonderful performers like Lillias White, Donna Marie Asbury, Jana Robbins, David Sibilla, and you really don't want to miss this one.
Hello and welcome to High Drama. I'm here with Fred Barton.
And I'm Fred Barton. And this
Fred
is
Barton?
Richard, this is Richard Skipper. I'm here with Richard Skipper.
And Fred, you know, this is amazing. You and I have known each other for how long?
I almost remember the year. It was, I think, 1983, in the 80s, and it was when the Wizard of Oz had its renovation.
That's right.
And we met at a book signing.
That's
Do you
right.
remember that? It was,
Yep.
Jana Robbins was here this afternoon. You know, and I like to have an idea.
Now, Jana Robbins is going to be doing our show with us.
Yeah, and boy, did she sound great today.
Well, listen to who we have in the cast. We have Donna Marie Asbury.
Donna Marie Asbury is... I did West Side Story with Donna years ago, and she doesn't look a day older.
I know.
I mean, she still dances like crazy.
It's amazing.
She's one of the best Velma Kellys I ever saw.
She actually she's gonna, at the beginning of the show, she's coming in to do a number, and she has to leave because she's got a matinee that
Of
afternoon.
Chicago. She's been in it since the very
beginning.
I think she's put her kid through college and the
That's
whole
right.
thing.
She has, and she's played practically every role except for Billy Flynn in the show.
Right.
And I think that's waiting in the wings, you know. So, and then we've got David Sibilla,
Another Chicago alumnus.
and he's actually doing the song that Ernie sang in the show, Mr. Cellophane.
Oh, right. I think I saw a little
clip of that.
Doing that. That's great.
And we also have Lillias White in the show.
Oh, and I've never worked with her. I'm looking forward to that because she and I have Cy Coleman in common. Because she, of course, did The Life.
Right.
And then shortly before The Life, I did City of Angels. And then I worked in the pit of Will Rogers Follies, and then I did a third show that Cy wrote, which unfortunately never came into town. But Lillias was he
Oh my God, I love her.
really made her in a way because he provided that song that put her on the map in a way that she hadn't been before. I mean, everyone knew who she was, but that song, some of those songs that she sang in that show, The Life, really did it.
And we have Sandy Stewart and Bill Charlap.
Sandy Stewart is a legend.
Singing my coloring book.
For me, not to just kneel on the floor, and I am perfectly willing to do this if she insists.
Well, I'm telling you,
I will kneel down and
when my phone rang 2 weeks ago and Sandy Stewart said, I understand you're doing this tribute to John. I would love to be a part of it. And Cheetah Rivera, who can't be with us, has filmed a special opening for us. So that's really exciting.
I can't wait to see that.
So it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Eva, we've hijacked your show. We're going to go and hijack instead of high drama. Just a sample of what people will get.
We'll go on and on.
Yeah.
But actually, I mean, the show, we were not going to be talking this likely. The
No.
show, I'm going to be playing at the piano with my group of fine musicians, the best available.
We've got great guys. When you do a show like this, yes, but when you do a show like this, and you know this because you do all kinds of these productions.
There's
there's always going to be someone who's going to come by and say, "Why didn't you sing that song?" I mean, when I posted something a few weeks ago, our poster lists a couple of the musicals, and again, we have no room to list every musical that they did. Someone said, "Well, why isn't Flora the Red Menace on here?" And I said, "Well, I wish there was."
Get me Liza Minnelli.
But we've got to rehearse. We got to, we got to rehearse. We're going to be on the 18th at the Laurie Beachman Theater at 1 o'clock.
42nd Street and 8th Avenue?
That's 9th Avenue.
9th Avenue.
Yes, we're moving uptown. But the thing is, it's very important that you go online and reserve, and we've made it very easy. Go to richardskipper.com, click on the yellow star, and you'll be able to order your tickets right there just to ensure that you get a seat, because people were turned away at the Carol Channing tribute that we did.
Yeah, this is an easy sellout with that talent and us. Easy sellout.
I bet your friends are all celebrities. That's wonderful.
What's so wonderful? You can make an onion, or whatever that is.
Ah, the grass is always greener. That's all you're getting from now. So that's it.
And you can find the whole review on YouTube under Eva Heinemann, and also on the Facebook page. The Melting Pot is something I'm hoping to get to. Hello from the Children of Planet Earth and Calamity Jane. Those are all going to show up on the Facebook page for the review. So is Folk Wanderings. The same person that wrote Men in Boats I Love So Much. Hannah Levin's going to be done in Yiddish and in Hebrew. And another special event coming up is Parallel Exit is back. So you don't want to miss that. Oh, I just love anything Mark Lonergan does. And Black Beauty, I'm seeing that Children's Victory March 16th, so that review will show up on the Facebook page. The timing sucks. Everything's closing before the next show, March 31st. And 59 is 59th Street. I'm interested in seeing all these plays. They all look so good. And 92nd Street Y has some wonderful things going on. Go to my Facebook page. I always put it down there. And here, Shakespeare's Wills by Anne Hathaway and Symphonie Fantastique is back. And Rocco Sisto's in Extreme Weather. And Glory Cardigan's The Party's Over at La Mama. Oh, and we'll be reviewing Syndrome and Manifesting Mrs. Marks from the Brick. Bam, Flea, all good stuff. And some reviews we'll be doing on our next show. The reviews we've reviewed already that have closed. Check out Parody Productions. And don't forget to pick up your Performing Arts Insider, the cultural heartbeat of New York City. Our next show is March 31st. And be sure and go to the Facebook page where you can find the show, you can find events, everything.